shout out to my GCPR family, my radio family. I know we are a little late tonight, and I apologize. There's been a little bit of technical difficulty going on, but we will have it straightened out very, very soon. And that song you hear in the background is Reflections by Diana Ross, and we are bringing her down. So welcome to another episode of Heart to Heart. Last week we had a wonderful guest. His name was David Day. He was an entrepreneur and a CEO, and he wanted to talk a little bit about relationships. You know, we talked about a love story. So tonight we are going to talk about vacations. Oh, wow. Tonight we're going to talk about vacations. I don't know why we're having so many technical difficulties, but we're definitely going to bring it to an end very soon. The song that you're here playing in the background is none other than Diana Ross. She is a wonderful, wonderful singer and an amazing artist. So we're going to talk about vacations tonight. We're very grateful that we had our guest, David Day, last week. So we're just going to keep it light tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about some really great places that we can have a vacation. You know, somewhere where you can take your honey, your partner, and really, really, you know, make it a wonderful experience, right? So does it look like we're going to be able to do live on Facebook, but I'm not sure why it's not going through. Looks like it will not go live. All right, anyway, so let's just stick with what we have. I will upload it to Facebook later. It doesn't look like it's trying to record tonight. I'm not sure what's going on. But we're just going to do this anyway and trust God with the rest. Amen. So let's talk a lot about vacations with your partner. I don't know how many couples out there take vacations. I know money's tight. I know that it is like really, really a strain on a lot of people when we talk about vacations. We talk about, you know, this economy, and this economy is challenging, but we do want to make sure that we're taking vacations with our partner. We do want to make sure that we're having an intimate time, that time of reflection, that time of just, you know, couple time. Because we know that it is very nice when couples can get together and they can be together and, you know, have that, just that alone time. You know, you got the kids, when the kids come along, you know, it all kind of, it's a fight for that time together. So you definitely want to make sure that you are spending your time together. And there are a list of places that you can do that is cost effective, that, you know, couples, because I know what you're thinking, like, oh God, Pastor Gia, you have no idea. We just cannot afford this right now. And a lot of times it is true that you can't afford a vacation right away, but you can't, you know, you can't go obviously to Madrid. And Pastor Gia's ultimate vacation would be Paris. I mean, to go to Paris is like très magnifique, my French teacher would say. And Paris is the city of romance, and shout out to all the Parisian people out there. But it is a romantic city. It is a city of just, you know, it cradles the concept of romance. So I have always wanted to go. That is on my to-do list. And I hope to go one day very soon. Um, but if you're going to see Paris, you want to see a place like that with your partner. You want it to be special. You want it to be amazing. You want it to be just captivating. And it's just it's up for grabs. It is the city to grab. So I would say, if you can't afford Paris and you're looking for something along those lines, the place I did get to see was Quebec. It is the last French-speaking province, in this side of the equator. In terms of Canada, it is the last French-speaking province, because you got Niagara Falls in Montreal, and then in Quebec, you have little Paris. And there is a city that's all lit up and it's built inside of a mountain. And of course, when I went with my husband at the time, and it was the most romantic vacation ever. We were climbing this mountain. Of course, Pastor Gia is notorious for having occasions and wearing the wrong shoes. So I did more complaining climbing that mountain than anything else, because I didn't have mountain climbing shoes, and it was very painful. Plus I slid a few times. It was, it was awful. But it was fun. All of the menus were in French. Everyone spoke French. Pastor Gia had some French lessons and French in school. So I got to try out my French, and it was nice. And, the people were wonderful. In Canada, the people are very warm, very friendly, very nice. We took pictures for days. And those are memories that you build that will last forever. It is forever burned in my mind that I got to go to Quebec and try out my French. But the ultimate trip is going to be Paris. And I will probably enjoy that most of all. That is my absolute trip that I have to take, like, before I die. And I want it to be with my special person. And so that is the trip that I am saving and waiting for. So some of the trips that you could take, Hawaii is a little pricey right now. You've got Virginia Beach. You've got Rehoboth Beach in Delaware. You've got the Carolinas, South Carolina, Myrtle Beach. So there are some trips that you can take. St. Thomas, St. Croix, the Aleutian Islands, which I would absolutely love to see. I'm told that it is extremely beautiful there. So there are some places that you can go to remind your person that they are both loved and cherished. And you can kind of recapture and rekindle some of the things that, you may have lost because of the kids. And, some people just don't take vacations. You have couples that are just workaholics. That is not a good recipe for a relationship. It's great that you work, but you got to remember what you're working for. And taking a romantic trip, even if it's just 4 days with each other, you need that time to rejuvenate and refresh that relationship. It reminds you of why you love the person. It reminds you of, it just kind of brings back the sparks. And I think that is what is needed in a relationship. And I think that when you have those romantic trips, when you have those romantic getaways, if you're not doing anything but like going to a comedy club or, going to dinner or, and just making it just an evening about you guys, have a little champagne, do something to remind your partner why you are there, why they are special, what you think about them. So those kind of things are things that you need to do. Niagara Falls is another one. Oh my gosh, that is like the most romantic place ever. That is a really good trip. And I think that, if you get a chance to go there, it's going to be really special, spicy. So that's a good trip. You're watching Niagara Falls. It is, people get married under these falls. I mean, like, they just do all kinds of things. It is like one of the most romantic trip ever. Anybody that's into like science fiction, remember Superman 2 when he takes Lois Lane to Niagara Falls? And I remember seeing that and I thought, oh my gosh, this is like so, and I was a little teeny girl, but I thought, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I can't believe, this is amazing. And it was, dorky Clark Kent at first, and then he turns into Superman. And I think that's when she discovers he's Superman or something like that. I just thought it was just the most romantic thing I'd ever seen. They were in this romantic setting. Yeah, they were posing as a couple, pretending to be, it was Clark and Lois Lane. And they were pretending to be this married couple trying to catch these bad guys. And they end up like really, really falling in love. And so I think that sometimes when things are tight, even when things are tight, you have to remind each other why you're special to each other, why you love that person. And the way to do that is to take a trip. I mean, can you imagine doing something like that? It's just, I think that is like the ultimate trip. When you think about the time you're going to spend together, the ambiance, having champagne and, just caviar or, watching the falls. So I think that is a trip worth taking, and it's not very expensive. You are going to need your well, in Quebec, you're definitely going to need your passport. I don't think on the Montreal side where, Niagara Falls is, I don't think you still need your passport, but things have changed so much. I mean, I just take your passport, like start getting it now, go on to Identigo.com or wherever, get your passport, start sending for it now so that you can get out of the country. I know we have like the Real ID and you have this and you have that. And, it just almost seems like we're prisoners more than anything, because before we don't live in a country where you can just get up and go like that anymore. You got to have this, you got to have that. You're restricted even if you're trying to fly, if you don't have this ID and your passport or just the Real ID, and it's just a lot. And so you're dealing with that. On top of that, you want to show your partner a romantic time, so you've got to plan ahead. I know my brother is taking his wife to Mexico this year. They're going to, don't quote me, but I think it's the Spanish Riviera. No, Mexico. I'm not sure, but they're going someplace very romantic. I know it's in that region. And I think my other brother is taking my other sister-in-law, Key. I think they're going someplace romantic also. I am the only odd duck out right now. I'm hoping to change that real soon, but it is a time for couples, especially this summer. You want to draw close. You want to have that experience. You want to say, hey, I choose you again and again and again. You want to let that person know that they are special, especially your partner of so many years, or even if this is your first year as a couple, do something memorable. I know, Pastor Gio, I'm always talking about like picnics and stuff like that. Do a picnic. In Pennsylvania, where I live, we have Philly, we've got Boathouse Row, we've got all these different wonderful places. And to be honest, if you can, we have the Japanese Gardens, which is incredible. It is like the best kept secret in Philly. Well, not now since I've told you, but get there, absolutely get there. So there are a lot of places. Oh, don't forget Kelly Drive and Boathouse Row, which is like really famous. And then there's like the art museums. And so take a day and wherever your city is, I'm sure it's someplace nice. I'm sure like even if it's Washington, D.C., they've got to have something nice there, like the Monument or someplace romantic where you can take your partner and remind them why they are special. Remind them why you choose them over and over again. So, I just think that is just like so awesome. And I really believe that if you get out there and you do it, you will not regret it. You will score points with your partner, plan it as a couple, or surprise her with a romantic trip, or surprise him. Well, it's going to be a little harder to surprise him depending on what it is. Because if he's a workaholic, you're going to have to kind of grab his attention and say, hey, baby, honey, I need you to pay attention right here. We need a weekend. Oh, honey, I couldn't possibly take a weekend. Listen to the woman. Listen to her. Because if she's saying you need a break, you really need a break. Maybe you're working so hard, you're not realizing how badly you do need this break. You may feel like you're not doing enough. She may see you on overload. So it is important that you hear each other. It is very important that you take breaks. It is very, very important that you know what you are, trying to achieve. If your objective is to spend time together, you're like, well, we could just lay around the house. It is not the same, people. It is not the same. You cannot just lay around the house, right? We can't just do that. Absolutely not. No laying around the house. I know you think that that is, okay, but it is really not okay. And for several reasons. You want to make sure that you are doing everything that you can. I am not sure, people, why my stream is set up on Facebook, but it will not allow me to go live. I'm not sure why it's never done that before. And I apologize to any of my Facebook family that's flipping or trying to catch it on YouTube. I have no idea why it's doing this. As I've said, it's never done it before. So if you're just joining me, we are definitely talking about vacations. I'm going to try this again on, it won't. Wow. We're just talking about something that, will spice up the relationship. That is the name of the game, is to spice up the relationship. What is happening with this thing? Yeah, I don't know what's happening with Facebook right now. But it is not working at all. It is like doing something really weird. So anywho, so when we talk about vacations and we talk about getting away, with your partner, you want to find out what your partner wants to do. Now, going to like the Baseball Hall of Fame or someplace like that is not romantic, unless you're both like super into baseball and you were married on a baseball field or you proposed on a Cinetron or something. That is the only way I could see it being acceptable. But 9 times out of 10, no, it's not going to be very romantic. So I would say you want to do something that maybe recapture your honeymoon, or, Vegas is a nice little getaway, provided someone's not a complete gambler or something like that. I mean, then that's not good because money's tight. You don't want to tempt things. But I do think that could be a nice romantic setting in Vegas. A lot of people honeymoon in Vegas. They get married in Vegas. I mean, I don't know that I would do it. Maybe because it's like exciting and all that. And, it's like this, this ultimate getaway kind of thing. So maybe I might do something like that. Come back. If you see this huge rock on my finger and I tell you I went to Vegas, then you know what it is. So, I think that for a couple though, to be able to get away and go to Vegas or Florida is a nice vacation. If you can go to like Epcot Center or the Florida Keys, or what's the one, SeaWorld with the dolphins? Oh my God, I think dolphins are so adorable. Dolphins are adorable people, and they're so smart. So, I mean, you might want to do something like that. Or if you're a kid at heart, you can do Disney World as a romantic getaway. I'm talking about something minus the children. No kids allowed. So when you think about planning this vacation with your honey, you have to think we're not taking the children. No nieces, no nephews, no cousins, no this, no that, just you and him or you and her, no one else. Because I think that in a relationship, when we've been together for a long time, you begin to put other people before you put your partner. And after a while, it becomes routine and you think your partner's going to like take it on the chin and, no big deal, but it is a big deal. You want to take them someplace that says, I choose you again, again, and again, over and over again. You know what I mean? You are my person. You are the person I would climb the highest mountain for, swim the deepest ocean. You want to do something that says, you and I are together. We are a team. This is what we are about. So I think that when we're picking a vacation, we want to pick a spot, guys, that, it's going to be etched in her mind, right? Or etched in his mind. Oh my God, me and my wife, we did this, or me and my husband, we did this. You want to do something that's going to bring you two together. Do not use a vacation. Hear me very clear, because Pastor G is going to say this slowly because I want to make sure you guys get this. Do not use a vacation as a time to reflect on everything that is bad in the relationship. Or now that I got him alone, now that I got his attention, I'm just going to unleash hell and tell him all the things that I'm upset about. That's not what that is for. It's not that kind of party. I mean, when you're talking about a vacation, you're talking about spending time with your person, your honey, and you don't want it to be a bash fest. You don't want to talk about, and then there was a time you left the toilet seat up and you didn't take the trash out, and no one wants to hear that. A vacation is strictly about you and him recapturing what you've lost or what you're missing or what you haven't had in a long time or never had. But if you take that time to one up or bash or, whatever it is you do, complain, or he's going to immediately shut down. The vacation is now over and it just becomes, we should have stayed home, because that's what this is like. You do not want that to resemble anything that is, that is problematic. You get there, you talk about, hey, honey, let's go snorkeling, or let's ride the ducks, or, I want to go ride a dolphin or whatever, but you don't want to do that. If you do get a chance to go to Paris, oh my gosh, we are going to see Paris. I want to see the Eiffel Tower. I want to see the Cathedral Notre Dame. I want to see, what I mean? You want to really have your list out and, take the Parisian tour and have French food and eat snails or escargot. I'm sorry. You want to really do that. You can also have that in Quebec. I had escargot. It was very good. So you want to be able to do those things, and you want to do them in a big way. You want to have that time that says, we did this together. So no matter what comes, you can always reflect on that memory.
That was easy.
It's my easy button. I think every announcer should have that. I do. I've always wanted to push the easy button. But so this is something easy, and this is something that you really need to have happen, because so many times in a relationship, we just go, don't we? We just go and go and go. There's the kids, there's work, there's school, there's all these things, but nothing that says, as time goes by, you are my person. You are the person that I love. You are the person that I choose. And as time goes by, you think of all the things that you didn't do. You wish about, you think about the things you didn't say when you had the chance to say them. So don't hold back, because you don't know how much time we really have together, do we? We don't know, as time goes by. Remember the scene in Casablanca where, they come into the thing, and it's really, there's this romantic scene, and I think it's Louis Armstrong. Says as time goes by.
You must remember this. A kiss is still a kiss. A sigh is just a sigh. The fundamental things apply as time goes by.
I just think this song is so awesome.
And when two lovers woo, they still say I love you. On that you can rely. No matter what the future brings, as time goes by. Moonlight and love songs are never out of date. Hearts full of passion, jealousy, and hate. Woman needs man, and man must have his mate. That
pretty awesome.
No one can deny. It's still the same old story, a fight for love and glory, a case of do or die. The world will always welcome lovers as time goes by.
So that little clip is to remind you, as time goes by, it was an awesome song. It was in the movie Casablanca. It's a black and white film. Humphrey Bogart, Ingrid Bergman. I don't know who her husband was. I keep forgetting. But anyway, Laszlo. I just remember he was some kind of freedom fighter. And there was this dynamic, this love triangle. And they only had a moment together, and they couldn't recapture it. Like, life got in the way and circumstances began to pull them apart as lovers. And she had to make a choice that was bigger than the two of them. And so they lost touch. And then, of all the cheap gin joints in town, she had to come into mine, he says, when he sees her after all these years, and she's there with her husband and she's in trouble, and his instinct is to let her burn, but he still loves her, even as time goes by. So remind each other why you still love them, why they're still important to you. Because as time goes by, sometimes we forget why we love someone. And it's easy to do. It is easy to, forget why you don't, something has happened, or you've lost touch, or you've lost love for one another. But if love is genuine in your relationship, no matter how long it is, no matter how long it takes, as time goes by, that love deepens. And though you may not see it, it does. It really does. And so you have to trust the love that you feel for each other. Even love comes in very strange moments. It could be a brief encounter where all the stars align, and the wind's blowing and the sky is funny, and then these two people meet, and boom, they love each other, and then love is impenetrable. And so that kismet, that kind of power, can only come from like God. It's like a divine destiny kind of thing. So you do have that kind of romantic love, but everybody doesn't get that, right? Sometimes love just comes quiet and soft, and it kind of sneaks up on you, and Two people can be friends for years and years and years, and boom, they love each other, But to me, the most romantic kind of love is when two people meet by chance, and it's serendipitous and it's romantic, and there's no substitute for that. But however you found love, for instance, one of my good friends, we went to high school together. Her mother was engaged to someone else. Her father was seeing someone else. And they met. He was a bus driver. They met by accident. She boarded his bus and something happened. And she called off her wedding, and they were married within 7 days and are still married. Mr. and Mrs. Sills are still married. And so all those years, and it only took 7 days, you know what I mean? They just knew, they met, boom, they knew, they didn't want to waste time. They just, she called off her wedding. So you don't know why God brings two people together. I can say that Sophia Sills is what she was when I knew her. I don't know what her married name is now, but she was an extraordinary woman. Very smart, very dynamic. They produced a wonderful child. And she wasn't their only child. She just happened to have been my friend. So I got to know her from high school. But they produced an extraordinary woman. There are reasons why people come together. It just is. You don't know why. You don't know what causes them, what cosmic thing draws them together that brings them this happiness. Sometimes we experience it early in life as they did. Sometimes it happens later in life when you don't expect it at all, when you don't know what's going on. And then boom, worlds collide and everything shakes, including the ground beneath you. And the only thing that's solid is when you two are in each other's arms. So that is romantic. And that is what you are trying to capture with your person. So go on that trip. Take that boat trip, take that weekend excursion, take your person to Maryland or Conestoga or wherever, you want to get away and it just be the two of you, not a staycay. Staying home is not a vacation. It is not romantic. There is nothing about that that's going to recapture anything. What if we stay home and get rid of the kids and we just, no. No. Avoid being cheap. Bad person. I know times are tight, but you're going to have to figure that out. Remind her of why she chose you. Remind him of why he chose you. So that makes it worthwhile, doesn't it? I think it does. I think that a romantic trip is in order. I think that it is something that will help you, even if it's just 3 days. I'm greedy. I'd like a week. I'd like 5 whole days, right? And then it goes into a weekend, and then like Sunday night, we're going home. I might be a bit greedy, but you need that time in a relationship. You definitely need that time. It helps you discover each other all over again, doesn't it? It really does. It helps you. I am just going to get out of Facebook. It helps you discover why you are together. You need a reminder. You absolutely do. And, sometimes we don't think that the other person feels that way. Oh, no, she's fine. Or, oh, no, he's fine. They're not fine. They're enduring. Now, I don't recommend a boat trip after what happened with that hantavirus stuff. Pastor G is not getting on a boat. Okay, that's not happening. I'm sorry. And and be careful where you're going to. If you're planning a trip, you want to make sure that it is someplace that is not having an outbreak. So, watch the news, check the CDC reports, because it is important. You want to be safe while you're on your trip. You don't want to be exposed to something that you can't come back from. In the midst of all of that, you got the hantavirus, which is very, very scary. It is really scary, people. So you do want to be careful where you're going. And oh my goodness, if you're on a plane, wear a mask. with things going around like that, you do want to be careful. You do want to be safe, be cautious. So, make sure you wear a mask when you're on the plane, or, if you don't do a plane, or if you do decide to do a boat, remember that this is like a rat feces kind of thing, this Hantavirus virus. So, and rats tend to like boats. So just be very, very careful. Bring your own sanitizer, wash your hands. Pastor Gia just recently joined the gym. So I am very super cautious now, because summer's coming and I really want to make sure that I look really good in the bathing suits. So and do something fun. Join a gym together. Do something fun, but make it a reward that you're going to take a vacation together. If you're going to join a gym together, you're going to work out and grind and pull your hair up and sweat till you drop kind of thing, then make sure that you take her to the beach so you can show off your drop dead gorgeous wife or your drop dead gorgeous husband. Show each other off. There's nothing better than when a couple is out and you're walking together and people just kind of stop because you're turning heads, and it's not just you or him, it's both of you together. It's what you bring together. So I think that's kind of nice. But make sure that you are making your person feel that they are valued, that you see them, that they are beautiful, that they are handsome, that they are special. The person that they care about most, who thinks, like, 100 women can tell him he's attractive. But when you say you are one good looking man, honey, that reminds him that the woman that matters thinks that he is just, wow, I choose you again and again. So it's the same for her. A woman needs to be complimented. She needs to be told she's beautiful. She needs to be told that she's special. She needs to be told when you see her working out and, doing all of this, it's for you. She's not doing this for another man. She wants you to know that she's gorgeous. She wants to be beautiful for you. And so I think that is amazing when you can remind your person that she is perfection, that her smile is everything, that you like the scent of her hair or the way she dresses or whatever. You want to remind her that she is beautiful. You want to remind him that he is handsome, that he still makes your heart flutter. So you got to do your part, ladies, right? We got to do our part. Got to make sure that we're saying the right things, because the right things are what's going to matter. Times are going to get tough. You want to remember the reasons why you chose that person, right? You want to remember or do something special for her. When you're out on vacation. I know you're saying, Pastor G, you're throwing a lot at us and oh my gosh, vacations are expensive. Yes, they're expensive, but she is worth it. You are worth it. Together, you guys are worth it, right? You're worth it. So do something special. Let her know again and again that she's worth it. The trip is going to say she's worth it. The trip is going to say you both are worth it. You're both worth this time. I'm sacrificing and giving you this time. There's a million things that we have going on, but guess what? The most important thing at this time is what's going on in this room, and that's with you. So be romantic. Seize the day. Seize the moment, because those moments are fleeting and they're going to matter when times get rough. We don't always know what's coming. The world is spinning and it's still going to spin after we're gone. But in the sands of time, you wanted to echo that you love this woman and that she loved you and that your love was epic. You know what I mean? Because everything is temporary, isn't it? Remember the soap operas back in the day, Sands in the Hourglass. These are the days of our lives. These are the days of your lives. And you want it to count for something. You want it to matter. And bills are going to be there when you get back. The kids are going to be there when you get back. Hantavirus is going to be somewhere when you get back. But leave your worries behind and celebrate. each other just for a moment, right? Just for a moment. I mean, you can spare 3-4 days. Come on, people. 3-4 days. Really? The weekend is like 2 days. So you could do Friday, take off. Then you got Saturday, you got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, take off. Make Thursday night your travel night. You know what I mean? Make that your travel day. So you take 4 days with your person and remind them of why you two are good together, right? Remind them of why you're special. I think that's a good idea. I think it's worth it. I don't see anything wrong with that. Do you? And if you do, why? Tell Pastor Gia why you think spending time with your person, taking a vacation with your person is wrong, is too much. We could be putting that money on something else. Of course you could. But as long as you continue to do that and push your person to the back, one day that person's not going to be there. Be it through death, divorce, something's going to happen and that person is not going to be there anymore. You're not going to have them. And then you're going to wish you had done it. You're going to wish you had said those things. You're going to wish that you made love to her or you made love to him. You know, so be the husband you are supposed to be. Be the wife you're supposed to be. Be the partner you're supposed to be. Don't be a jerk. You know, come on. Get with the program. You know, when that person walks out of your life, they're gone. And they're not coming back. They're not. And even if they tried to come back, it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't. And you probably wouldn't stay with the person anymore. Once it's gone, it's gone. The key is to not to let the fire burn out, right? We can't let the fire burn out. Once it does, it's kind of like you lose everything. And you don't want to do that. You want there to be passion in your relationship. Look at Gomez and Morticia. They lived in that shack and they still just was hot for each other. Remember that? Everything she said, you know, Tish, you spoke French. Now he was hot-blooded in Latin. But I mean, like, the thing that drew them together was their romance. It was their pull to each other. Don't ignore the pull. Give into that. You know what I mean? Embrace that. That is passion. Because once it's gone from a relationship, you don't have a relationship. And some fire, you can only have that one time with that one person in that moment. Take the fire. Get burned. You know, the scripture in the Bible says, can a man take fire in his bosom and not be burned? He cannot. Fire's not bad. Not when it's with your partner. Fire is good. Right? It is very good. You want the flames of love. When that goes out, it's like, why am I with this person? Who is this person? The more time you spend together, the more time you love each other, you know, and draw close to one another. Do things together. Enjoy each other's quirkiness. Laugh at each other's jokes. Laugh at each other, period. I mean, there's times you do something silly, you know, don't get annoyed so easily. Oh God, she wore the wrong shoes again. You know, oh, let her wear the wrong shoes. Run by a store, grab her some new shoes. I think that's really romantic. Very romantic. Do things to make each other happy. He's driving, you see him pulling at his neck, and oh my God, my neck's so stiff, and he's trying to drive. Rub his neck. Stroke the back of his head. What is wrong with you? He's your partner. Touch him. You know, you have to remind each other of why you love each other, right? You have to remind each other. Because if you don't, those flames burn out. You lose all momentum. And when it's gone, it is gone, people. Absolutely gone. And I know what you're thinking, oh, Pastor Gia, my partner is so understanding. Are they? Yeah, no, he doesn't mind when I work late and He doesn't mind that I don't dress up anymore, and I haven't had my hair done in months. I know he doesn't mind, really. He doesn't care about those things, but maybe he does, and he's just not saying anything to you, but you should care. You should care that your partner is happy. You should care that your partner is attracted to you, that you're giving him, as En Vogue would say, something he can feel. So to let him know it's real. You know what I mean? You should care about those things. That is what's going to keep that relationship alive, ladies. It is. It is, it's nice. It's kind of cute when he comes home and you're in sweats, or you've worked out and you smell like a gymnasium. But, once or twice, okay. But every day, no. You want him to fight to get home. He should be fighting to get home to you. And if he's not fighting to get home to you, something's wrong. And you need to start examining what that could be. Like if he comes home from a trip and you don't see him for days after he's been home, that's not a relationship at all. It's not a relationship at all. You want a man that's going to fight to see you. You want a man that's going to say, oh my gosh, this woman drives me insane. I have to be near her. I miss her. You want a man to miss you. If he's not missing you, well, and you're dating, right? Say you're dating, he's not missing you, he's not coming home, he's not doing any of these things. You're not in a relationship. You're not. Don't even waste your time. Just like, look, this is not a relationship. No, thank you. Bye. And find someone who does think you're exciting. Find someone who can appreciate how beautiful you are. You can do that. But if you're fixated on trying to win a person that is not with you, then you are not only wasting time, but you're doing yourself a disservice. You know what I mean? Fine. Take that attitude, because that means that God is trying to bring you to someone who does and who will appreciate all that you have to offer, all that you want to express. So don't be stubborn. When you see it closing, let God close that door in Jesus' name. Let him close it. Because when he does, honey, trust and believe you're going to be much happier later. Much, much happier. You want someone that loves you. Same thing, gentlemen. If she doesn't have time for you, she can't take your phone calls and all this, and you don't know what's going on in her life, and she's, she has to pencil you in, let God close that door. She's not too busy. She's just not with you. She might not even be with anybody else. She's just not with you, and she's not in that headspace. Okay, because there are so many women that would love to be with you until it is ridiculous. So why are you wasting time with someone that is not there for you? Okay? So I'm going to say on that subject. I'm going to let that ship pass around, pass by. You are now in a relationship that is give and take, equal. You are now in a relationship that your partner and you are together. You do all you can to make that work. They need space, give them space. You need time together, take time together. When you get married, make that relationship count. You're in a relationship, your partner coupled, and you know how Pastor Gia feels about living together. I don't think it's a good idea, but couples don't listen to me anyway. If you're doing that, you're in it. It's not going to change because Pastor Gia doesn't necessarily agree. You're in it. Try to make that work. You know what I mean? You're in it now. I mean, you're whether you did it this way or that way, you're living together, you're a couple. So my advice to you as a therapist is to be a couple. You know, I've had couples come to me and they, oh, Pastor, we want to get married. We're living together. Absolutely. I'm not saying no to anybody wanting to get married. I told you about the couple that don't do it, Pastor. Don't do it. I went to their home to marry him. And they are the longest couple I have married, and they're doing very, very well. And I love, they are like my favorite couple. Of all the couples I've married, they make me the happiest. I'm very proud of them. I married 3 couples in that 1 year. 2 of them got divorced, but it wasn't them. And the 2 couples that got divorced, I was flabbergasted. They did very well in Christian counseling, the marital counseling. They did really well. They answered all the right questions. They just seemed so affectionate and just kissy kissy. These 2 fought like 2 prize fighters. I mean, really. I'm like, so I'm sorry, why do you want to get married again? Lived together 12 years. And my girl Key and her husband are still together. Love that couple. They are an amazing couple, and God has blessed their relationship tremendously, blessed his business, blessed their family. I mean, just amazing couple. Sometimes, God will bring 2 people together, and it may not look good to us. We may not understand it, but they are mad, passionate, hot for each other. And they have been married, 11 years now. I think this is their 11th year. I think they're going on 11 years now. 10 years. I think this was their 10-year anniversary since I married them. But I love that couple. And, I just think that out of all the couples that I married, I'm very proud of them. So they beat the odds, and everything was stacked up against them. It was almost demonic. I was like, what? You know what? I'm going to marry these people. I had a pastor call me and say, don't do it, Pastor Gia. Don't look, Pastor, don't marry them. Neighbors stopping me in the hallway. Don't do it, Pastor. I'm on my way to their apartment to perform a ceremony. Don't do it, Pastor. I'm like, you know what? I'm more determined than ever to do this now. Now I'm stubborn. Now I really want this done. Now we're just going to get this. We're going to make this happen. So how dare you tell me not to marry these wonderful people? So I'm saying to you, you don't always know why, things happen the way they do, but they are the best couple I've ever seen. And they were just like the Fighting Irish. I would never see couples fight the way they did, but they turned out, it was the passion. They learned to harness it over the years. They learned that marriage is just it's a holy union that solidifies everything. And so they did this, and they are just, I don't know, they're my poster people for getting married. So you don't know why people are divinely brought together. You might look at the relationship and say, oh no, I don't think they should be together. Or you might not understand why 2 people are together, why they're drawn like magnets to each other. Their worlds have just collided, and it's chaos for a minute, but then when they come together, wow, they make history, they make destiny. They're good together, And so I'm a firm believer in true love. I really do believe that. And I believe the only way to find true love is to let what is not love go. You have to let it go. You might want it to be love. You might be hopeful for this relationship. You might see how possibly it could work, maybe if the wind shifts north. But if it's not coming together, if you don't feel that heat, that energy, that thing that makes you just long for each other, if that's not there, because there's no substitute for that at all, nothing. And if you find it, you don't let that go. That you keep. So learn to look at signs when you're dating, in a relationship. When you're in a relationship and it's good, you want to keep it that way. If it's rocky, you want to make it good again. And the way you make it good again is you're going to have to come out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to forgive, lots of forgiving, not forgive and remind. Okay, you forgive and forget. Press toward, a higher vision for the relationship. Because if you don't, you will run that person away. You will make them hate your guts, and the relationship will end. And it'll end very bitter. You don't want to do that. Anyone can fall out of love But the trick to that is just not, you don't let that happen, right? We don't want that to happen. That's what we say. We don't let that happen. How do you keep love from burning out? You don't let the fire go out. You just can't. So, in saying all of that, I'm saying to you that we have to work very hard at building things, making things come together, right? You want to make things come together. And you want to do that by, reminding your partner of moments together. Make new moments, make memories, take silly pictures, do things that get your partner's attention. You remember back in the old days when wives used to make their husbands lunch? Remember that? Then I think it was the 90s came and the husbands started making wives lunch. Then the 2000s came and husbands was working from home. Then wives was working from home. I think that's like 2019 when we had the COVID situation. Couples started working from home. If you are working from home together, you're seeing a lot of each other, but not enough of each other at the same time. When two people are working from home, they're seeing a lot of each other. They are in the same proximity with each other. However, you are not actually spending time together. You're working on one project, he's working on another project. You're just two bodies in the same room. I don't want you to be two bodies in the same room. I want you to be two hearts that beat as one. And the only way you're going to do that is to come together and to work together at becoming a romantic couple. I'm not talking about you couples that, y'all taking a break and stuff and y'all just doing stuff and putting things on pause and going in there, spending time together during the work hour. I'm not trying to tell you business, but I am saying that absence, the longing for each other does make the heart go fonder. So give Uncle Sam his due. And then you come together after the workday is done and be together. There's something to be said for that longing that you feel when you are apart. Like you're at work, he's at work, and you're not in the home together, or one person's at home working and the other person's away working. When you come together, it should be magic. Yes, you're tired. Baby, tell me about your day. Come here, lay your head in my lap, or tell me what's going on. Or, honey, let me rub your feet. Women always love that. Really? Okay. She'll jump right for that. Honey, let me wash these feet first, but yeah, I will be back. So you definitely want to spend that romantic, intimate time together. And you have to be able to give that, or you're just not a couple. You're just two people, you're roommates. You don't want to be roommates. You want to be in a relationship. You want to be romantic. And, to do that, you're going to have to spend time together. Your husband's coming home and, his favorite show's coming on. You might want to whip up a little dinner. A lot of couples order out. I'm trying to discourage a little bit of that. I want you guys to maybe cook something together, or he makes something for you. Maybe he knows that your favorite dish is catfish and he fries it for you, Southern fried, or maybe he likes collard greens and cornbread or fried chicken or whatever. So you really want to do those things that will, not just, because this person loves it, but you also want to do it because it brings you two closer together. You come in the door, you drop that briefcase and go, oh my God, I know I'm not smelling fried X, Y, and Z's or porgies or trout or catfish, or you know what I mean? I mean, I'm a fish person, so I'm saying catfish. It's my thing. I'm supposed to eat a lot more red meat. I've been trying. It's not like fish. It's not. But I think there's nothing more romantic than cooking for your partner or doing something for your partner. It just isn't. Take them on that horse and carriage ride. Okay, so those of you that are saying, well, or, like for here, we have the Spirit of Philadelphia. Spend $50, take them on a boat trip. It's 3 hours, you get lunch, but it's romantic. So if you can't do a weekend getaway just yet, then do small getaways. You're going to have to work at this. Find creative ways to do it because gas is expensive. I know. They're taking a trip to the shore. Ooh, it's probably like $200 now to fill that car up and back, but do things that remind the person of why you're here. I am going to have to say good night to my GCPR radio family. Good night. Thank you for joining me. Sorry. So, as for the rest of you in the GCPR network universe, I had to get rid of the GCPR radio network. We want to be able to do things that matter. And always remember, if you don't remember anything else that Pastor Gia says, love matters. And there are times when you need to have that heart-to-heart apology, to each other because you were rude or whatever. But don't use a vacation as a time to like bash or, bring things up from the past, or because then it's not a vacation. You've now trapped somebody in your wall of bitterness and you want to just spew your stuff. People are going to make mistakes. No one's perfect. So learn to forgive and learn to say, I'm sorry. Learn to say, I love you. Learn to say, you know what, honey, I know I messed up, but we're just going to start this all over again. We're just going to start this song all over again. You want to be able to show your partner that you're human. It's not human to not say I'm sorry when you mess up. It's not human not to show any emotion. You want to be able to give that, right? So let's give that. Let's show that person that you do have feelings and that they have feelings and you understand, their feelings and their emotions. And have a good time. Oh my gosh, be silly. Go dancing, go to a comedy club, go to a jazz club. Take that person out. That's your partner. That's the person that's going to have your back. I got to spend last Saturday was my brother's birthday, and I watched my brother David and his wife Crystal. Yes, I'm calling you guys out. And I watched my brother Ron and his wife Kia. Well, his wife to be, she's gonna be my sister-in-law. I watched how they love their ladies, and they are amazing at it. My brothers could teach a class on love. It's like in our family DNA. So one day I'm going to bring them on here, my brothers and their wives. And they're just very romantic, very passionate, and very, just very giving as men. I'm just so proud of my handsome, strong guys. They're not just handsome. They're not just a pretty face. My brothers, although they're very handsome, they're very romantic, and their wives, I watch them just blush when they come in the room. They don't even have to say anything. My brothers never notice it, but my sister-in-law will blush when my brother comes in the room, or my other sister-in-law, when Ron comes in the room, she just blushes, and you know what? And she tries to hide it, but she just can't, I'm like, that's right. That's my DNA right there. That's our DNA. That's, I know what's going on. So, it is important that you remember how important love is to your partner and never, ever give it up, right? You don't want to give up love. You want it to be magical. You want it to matter. You want it to say, I love you no matter what. I love you when times are rough. I love you when the world's on fire. I love you when everything around us is sinking. It is just the two of us. For as long as God allows us, we are forever. So you want to be able to say that to your partner. over and over for as long as he needs to hear it, for as long as she needs to hear it. You want to not just say it, but show it, because that is what's going to make the difference. And as for that vacation, you should be online right now planning it, right as we speak. Amen. Well, that is all the time Pastor Gia has for you tonight. Thank you for listening to me talk about vacations and why it's important in a relationship. Thank you for listening to me talk about love. I think that love is one of the greatest things. It is the greatest power that exists because God is love, all love. And love is about sacrifice. Love is about commitment. Love is all emotion. Love is all affection. Love never fails. So you don't fail. Don't fail your partner. Just love them. Okay? That's all right. So, let me know what vacation you decide to go on, and if Pastor Gia actually takes that trip to Niagara Falls or Paris, you'll be the first to know. You will be definitely the first to know. I'll be like, oh my gosh, guys, I'm going to Paris. It is definitely my dream vacation. Of all the places I've ever wanted to go, Paris is my first choice. So, if you can't go to Paris, remember what I said. There is still Quebec, the last French-speaking province in Canada, the only one left. Then there's Niagara Falls, which is also very romantic. There's Myrtle Beach in South Carolina. There's just so many places that you can go that are just wonderful. There's Florida. There's, the Keys. There's just so many things. We're just recapping. So you start talking to your travel agent. I don't recommend the Poconos. However, I had a horrible experience in the Poconos and I will never go back. So, but of all the places I would love to go, I think, I don't know, Florida might be my next trip. Might be. We'll see. So that's all the time I have for you tonight. From my heart to your home, thank you and God bless you. And remember, if no one has told you they love you today, I do. Thanks for joining me. See you next week on another episode of Heart to Heart.
Beyond Gotham, hey, there is a villain's view. Beyond Gotham, hey, there is the villain's view. This is the villain's view. Hey, the world's seen in shades of blue. Hey, we stand as one, we stand true. Hey, this is the villain's view. Oh, this is the villain's view.